Red Nation, are we here? The best show for Chicago sports. Yeah. What's good? Yeah. Hey, yo. What is good, everybody? It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. On today's show, we got to break down what's going on with the latest around the NBA, man. What is happening? What are our expectations for the second half of the season? And who is under the most pressure to win an NBA championship this season? All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily, man. I'm your host, Pat the Designer. That is the pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid in the building. Y'all already know how we coming, man.
Let's do it.
Right there, kid. How you feeling today, brother?
Hey, man, it's another day, another dollar. You know how I go.
That's how we living out here, man. Give it a second. Because it's time to start the show. Here we go. Yeah.
You have way too much fun with this one.
Yeah. Hey. All right, let's get the music. What's good, y'all? It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love to another episode. We're not just breaking down Chicago sports today. We're going all around the NBA today, man, because there's a lot of expectations on this team, a lot of expectations with the teams around the league, man. We need y'all to help us make some predictions today. Who is under the most pressure to win an NBA championship this season? And y'all out here blowing up all these other podcasts, man. We need y'all to do us a favor, man.
Want to blow something up? Huh? Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
You heard what she said.
Hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the page. Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Stop playing with her, man, before she gets crazy out here. And welcome it back to the show, man. We ain't seen this man on the channel with us for a minute, man. There's undoubtedly going to be some technical difficulty as he jumps back in here. But the man, the myth, the legend, Ringo J back in the building. Stefana Don in the building. Steph, what's good?
Yo, what's good?
Oh, no
Hey,
technical
mic sound
difficulty.
good.
Mic sounds
What's
crispy.
good? What's good?
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. This mug look crispy.
This one got a new camera, new PC.
This mug look mad crispy. I ain't gonna lie.
This man's feeling good. He got a good angle
Yeah.
now. We got the clothes out of the right side, man. Look at this man. Step back in the building, man.
Hey man, just had to get my stuff right, but we back. We in the game. Hey,
I love it. I love it, man.
We in the game.
Hey, boys, the NBA season is returning. This is technically not the second half of the season. Let me ask y'all this as we jumping into this, man. Is the All-Star game like way later now, or am I just tweaking?
Nah,
I feel like
it's always been.
It's always only been 23 games after the All-Star break?
Nah, I feel like it's been at least 25, 26.
Fam, I feel like we've had 30 games after the All-Star break.
I don't know if it was just me, but the Super Bowl was mad late.
Super Bowl's always second week of February.
Super Bowl's kind of always been in the same spot. I think it's moved since the original Super
Yeah.
Bowls, but like it ain't that far away. I don't know, man. I saw like 20 something games after the All-Star break.
You're right about that because the extra week that we have now and stuff like that. So it's an extra regular season game.
True.
Yeah,
But they also have less preseason games.
Yeah.
So I forgot. Hey, listen, one of you historians going to help us out right there because we ain't really talking about that. But it's never really in the middle of the season. Like it's 82 games. It's not. It's always, if it's 30 games left, that means you've played more than 50% of the games in the season. So I mean,
it just felt weird to me. Man. I'm like, man, like the season is really like we come back from the All-Star break, the season's really over. You know what I mean? Like, it's really over. But there's a lot of pressure on a lot of these guys, man. A lot of people moving around. A lot of people have already moved teams and different things like that. James Harden comes to mind. Kevin Durant being traded out to Phoenix. Nate McMillan getting fired out in Atlanta, which basically says we're resetting out there. But the question on the table for me, who is under the most pressure right now to win an NBA championship? Give me your top 3, boys, because I think there's a lot of pressure going around the league right now with a lot of names on some of these guys.
I'm gonna let Steph go first.
Well, yeah, so I started because you asked me earlier. I told you off rip. I thought the first one was Chris Paul. Just the reason why I believe it's Chris Paul is just because I feel like if he doesn't play the two games that I feel like he sold in, where the reason he messed up is because he did something uncharacteristic that we usually don't talk about which is turnovers, and he did have the 1 point game.
Yeah.
As you talk about, my second one will probably have to be definitely Kawhi and or Paul George, whichever way you look at it, just because you have been, if I'm looking at that team, they've been at it for a minute.
Yeah.
And you know, when Kawhi was out, Paul George was kind of running the show. They look more efficient. You got to kind of choose a side with that. I don't know really what's going on with that. Per se, is Kawhi going to be fully ready to go during playoff time, and probably third for to get a chip. Oh no, James Harden. James Harden. Gotta be James. You have played with legitimately almost everybody, almost every All-Star game MVP.
Yeah.
Legit. Now you got Joel Embiid, who's operating, I believe, at another level right now. With even Jokic doing what he's doing. But I mean, you got Embiid doing what he's doing right now. I think that's probably my third and final one. But yeah, those are definitely my top 3.
I'm not mad at him. I'm kind of on the same page with you. I think that Chris Paul, see, it's tough, right? Because I think people are under pressure for different reasons, right? And I got a name that most people probably are gonna look at me and be like, I don't know about that one. But to me, I feel like the most pressure, I think Chris Paul's under the pressure because of time, right? Like now, if Chris Paul wins a championship now, we don't give the credit to Chris. If Chris Paul wins a championship now, we look at Kevin Durant and we say, hey, you went over there and you won an NBA championship, because Chris Paul's been there to get that team to the finals, and we've seen him have the bad performances. He's gotten that team to a Western Conference Finals, and we saw him have one of the worst performances in Game 7 history. I mean, which of his free throws was your favorite that he knocked down? The one that he made. You know what I mean?
Points?
Yeah, right. Points? You know what I mean? Like points. There's a lot of S on that, bro. I got you a point. Yeah, I mean, he scored one more than we did. And it's no slight to my man's career, right? But I think the thing with Chris Paul for me is that if Chris Paul wins a championship, wouldn't it feel like Gary Payton winning with the Heat?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You think he's the reason that they win this championship?
I couldn't sit there and say Gary.
I think he's a piece of it, just like Gary was a major defensive piece.
Gary was a major
Miami winning that ring. Like he was but when you think about it, you kind of just go, oh yeah, Gary Payton does have an NBA championship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Get exactly what you're saying.
It doesn't pop to the forefront of your brain.
I get exactly what you're saying, and if you have any feedback, let me know, because I think I'm hearing you a little too clear.
No, you sound
good. But no, when I look at Chris Paul, I think of Chris Paul as the reason why Phoenix was on the map in the first place. I mean, Devin Booker to me was a gun for hire, so to speak. I mean, he definitely had the skill set to sit there and put things on the map. I compared Devin Booker and Zach LaVine a lot before Zach got injured, but he didn't know how to win. Chris Paul put them together. I think Chris Paul has played more of a pivotal role with Phoenix than GP played with Miami. I think
I would agree with that.
Shaq really played more of a role with Dwayne Wade in Miami than GP did. I think GP was really along for the ride. I think even he would admit that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I think that I like. You know what? Jay made a good one. It's more like Jay Kidd with the Mavericks.
Wouldn't say
more
that
like
either.
Jay Kidd with
Jay
the
Kidd
Mavericks.
was actually pivotal for that one.
But here's the thing, right? I think
but he wasn't.
I think that Chris Paul's important to this championship. I don't think that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant go out there and just win a championship by themselves. I think that's a really good team, but I don't think they go out there and win a championship by themselves. I think the thing is that you have to look at is that is Chris Paul going to be the one, right? Like if he gets this championship, it's like shout out to him. He finally got one. Right, you feel good about it. You know what I mean? It's like shout out to him. He's played a long career. He's fought through it. He finally was able to get one. You know what I mean? And I think that that's really where I look at Chris Paul in this situation. So the pressure on him for me is just the time that it might take. Shout out to Jay Gar for the super chat as well. It's just the time that it's going to take. Or the time that he has left, right? Like, and Kevin Durant might have opened that window up even more for him, right? You probably can play a little bit longer if you pass on the ball to Kevin Durant. Now the scoring load isn't just on you. So maybe he's got one more year after this one, maybe two, right? But I think that there's somebody that we're going to start looking at and possibly more on the organization. But if he completes winning his third MVP this year, we got to start looking at Nikola Jokic and saying, hey, brother, and not to say that he's played poorly in the NBA finals, not to say, or in the NBA playoffs. He has been the reason that team has been in the NBA final or playoffs. I don't think he's ever even had a bad performance in the NBA playoffs, if I'm being 100% honest, right? But I think the thing is, right, with Jokic, to me, he's somebody that you got to kind of look at and say, okay, you've gotten yourself here. But Jokic, what's he been to? Second round? Is that the furthest he's been to this point, I believe?
I think they went to the West.
Have they been to a WCF? I don't think they've been to a WCF. I think they've only been. I think he's only been to the second round. Now, I think we would start to look at Jokic in the sense that we looked at LeBron before he got his first one. Hey, you're killing it. You got all these regular season accolades. You're absolutely the triple-double man out here. You're the big man that is coming out there 3 times. I'm gonna be honest with you. At this point, if we don't give him the MVP, we need to absolutely stop writers from being able to vote for the MVP. 110%. With the season he's having right now, he is spreading himself quickly apart as the MVP of the NBA. But to me, now it's like, hey, man, you're dominating in the regular season. Eesh. What else you got? Hey, look, hey, Kid didn't even know. Kid had to go look. Kid didn't even know. Yes, he is dominating in the NBA. And so now, right, I look at him and I'm saying, okay, you haven't gotten through the second round yet. Like, you're killing it. You're dominating. But what else are you doing outside of that? Like, even with Russ, all his triple-doubles, all the accolades, Russ can say, I've been to the NBA Finals. Jason Tatum, with his poor finals performance, can say, I've been to the NBA Finals. And I think that's somebody else that has a little bit of pressure on them, but he got a long career ahead of him. I don't think it's nearly as much. But to me, Jokic is somebody that I think we need to start looking at and being like, hey, brother, you're dominating, but this is the season for me. And I'm not saying that his team's all the way there. I'm not saying his team is on the same level as some of these top teams, but you're getting good contribution from Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon should have been an all-star this year. Michael Porter Jr. Now he's got to be on the floor, but when Michael Porter Jr. is on the floor, he's absolutely he's one of the best scorers in the NBA. Like, it's amazing to watch. It makes me sad every time. I cry a little bit. Jamal Murray is what he is at this point. I didn't cry that day, but I thought about it. Jamal Murray is what he is at this point, right? Like, Jamal Murray's either in or he's out. He's basically been out all of this year. So I think that now it's like, okay, last year we gave you grace for saying you don't have no help. We gave you grace last year when you had nobody. You literally got out there and played with nobody. It was you and Will Barton. You can't make that claim this year. Yeah. I need to see a little bit more. I think that pressure's on him as well. And then my third would be James Harden, because listen, you're not Harden from Houston no more. You went to Brooklyn, basically got your butt kicked by Kyrie Irving every day and felt bad about it, and then wanted to leave because he just kept hooping you up every day and wouldn't let you get a bucket, wouldn't let you win at all, apparently. Like, that's the reason that you wanted to leave. Also, bad strip clubs from what I've heard. I don't know what's shaking out in Philadelphia, but shout out to you. But But I think that James Harden is under that pressure because now you forced your way out of 2 teams for what?
Okay.
So those are my two.
I just think it's funny. Like, I mean, if you just go down the list, like KD, Russ, Dwight, KD, Russ, Dwight, Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, the Rockets scrapped the entire team. Just so it fit your play style. That didn't work.
Yeah. Got
with Russ again. They said the Russ was a problem there. You go out, Russ starts averaging a triple-double, helps you get to the playoffs again in the bubble. Y'all come up short. At some point, like it has to be on him. It has to be pressure on him to get there. Like Jimmy has been to a final.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When you put it, that was a dagger. When you put it in that perspective, it's like, and if we're being honest, Jimmy Butler, since James Harden has started forcing his way out of Phoenix, has had a more successful career than James Harden.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, not Phoenix. Since James Harden forced his way out of Houston, has had a more successful career than James Harden. He's been to an ECF. He's been to a NBA Finals.
Two ECFs,
ECFs and NBA Finals, and like that's bringing Jimmy into it really was like, dang, like that. Here's the thing. We can't say Jimmy was on a better team.
We can't say Jimmy was on a better team.
We can't say Jimmy was on a better team.
No. I'll say this though. I don't blame
Harden for coach.
I don't blame Harden for the Nets situation. And in fact, if you go and you look at several players from the Nets organization, if you look at, I forgot the cat's name on the Mavericks, but he talked about Kyrie and everything like that and them potentially playing and stuff like that. The Nets situation was just a cluster F of just like whatever. Like it was butchered on so many different levels. I can't necessarily hold that against James Harden, but I do see, and I can't necessarily hold Houston against him either. If you really look at it, Houston was at a point where they weren't making headway anymore. They had really lost their identity. They lost their head coach. Mike D'Antoni created a system where he put the ball in James Harden's hand and he had his usage rate sky high, but it was working for them. When you move away from that and you don't re-sign some of those players to actually make them be who they were, I don't fault him for forcing those way out. But if I had to go just jump into my list real quick, I'm actually going to start at the top with Embiid and I'm going to do pairs. I think it works better in pairs for me. Just my list: Joel Embiid and James Harden under the most pressure. Reason being, the process has been going on way too long. Even we know what Ben Simmons is now, but Ben Simmons at one point was an 18, 8, and 8 all defensive presence at 6'10" and could play 1 through 5.
And can we just to jump in? I'm gonna let you finish the list. Can we talk about the fact that they just keep effing up the process after Embiid?
They keep messing up the process.
Bro, they could have had Tatum. They could have had who? They could have had Mikal Bridges.
Bro, Tatum.
They could have had Mikal Bridges. Which Bridges could they have had? It was Mikal.
It was Mikal because Mikal was from there.
Bridges. They could have they were like, we got Joel. Process over.
Zaire Smith.
Zaire Smith has
Oh my God.
No.
They could have still kept Jimmy. They could have still kept Jimmy, and they would have been a different situation. Imagine what that team would look like with Jimmy still on there.
Imagine if they would have went with Jimmy over Tobias Harris.
Now, here's why I sit there and say in pairs they're on the hot seat, because if you look at the Philadelphia 76ers right now, their roster 1 through 5, they have a stacked team. James Harden is still 22, 10, and 10. I'm just going to round up. I know it's not exactly a triple-double, but I mean, we don't like the way he plays.
9.6 or whatever it is.
Yeah, we may not like the way he plays, and I honestly don't enjoy the way he plays. But for that team, he gets it done. Joel Embiid is getting wide open, clean looks because of who James Harden is. Maxey is playing a perfect role off the bench, kind of filling in, and he's lighting it up. Tobias Harris,
weird that he's off the bench.
He's a starter on any other team.
Can I say something before you finish though? That right there, that Maxey point is the reason why I feel like that they're either going to be able to elevate to get to a championship or they're not, because I feel like James has to let him cook to a certain extent, Because when they run the offense doesn't look as bad, and they're still moving efficiently. I feel like it just comes down to him letting him cook, and is Joel gonna have that ball in the fourth?
Yeah. Here's my pushback to that. Great point. Here's my pushback to that. Tyrese Maxey's numbers are actually up this year as far as it's actually up on points per game, even though he's playing 2 less minutes. So he's getting an opportunity to shoot the ball. And I haven't watched them I've watched the last 15 or so games with them because I've been really big on like what they look like now and is Doc Rivers really a good coach or not. That's a whole different video that I'm planning for a different situation. They actually have the situation in which their window of opportunity is now. Like if they don't win between now and next year, they have to kind of blow this team up. And at that point, what does it look like? It's a waste of whatever. They're one of those teams. They remind me of the Knicks in the early 90s. Like they're there. They're right there. Now they may not be able to beat the Bucks. I'm not saying that he's, what I'm saying, but it's like they're a threat. They're a legitimate threat. So for me, it's them. Joel Embiid, James Harden, and I'm gonna throw in Doc Rivers too because just make it a trio because Doc Rivers is on the hot seat because you've had all this talent, you ain't got it done either.
Well, you lose another 3-1, you in trouble, dog.
You in trouble. What was it a couple of years ago? He one more 3-1 away from coaching Proviso East.
Hey. Hey, at this point, dog, like Doc Rivers is on the hot seat. Doc Rivers is considered a top 15 coach of all time with 1 ring, and it's like, did he really, So I'm gonna move that. Number 2.
That's just about how few coaches have actually won one.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of coaches that have won.
He's actually right about that. Because if you look at who's dominated, Spo got a couple. Pat Riley's in there.
Pat Riley got all of them. Phil got all of them.
Yeah, Pat Riley, Phil, Spo,
and Greg Pop.
And Greg and Steve.
We talking about 40 years worth of rings between 4 dudes, basically.
But in between, I think Flip got one.
Flip got one.
And Flip had never had the talent that Doc has had.
Yeah, man.
You look at the teams that Doc has had; he's never had that type of talent.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember a Flip Saunders team ever having 2 All-Stars, 2 potential Hall of Famers on one team with the roster that he has. And I haven't seen him have 4 Hall of Famers on one team at all. Flip Saunders. No, I haven't had him.
Minnesota with KG.
It's 4 Hall of Famers on that team.
It's not 4 Hall of Famers on that team. He probably. Well, JR is not a Hall of Famer. He's Hall of very, very good.
Hall of very, very good. He's Hall of decent.
JR's Hall of very, very good. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Hall of decent.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
that sounds bad. The Hall of decent is wild.
It's a bar. I'm gonna make a trophy for that and just hand it out to people.
That's
we
tough.
interview. Hall of decent. Anyway, my second one, I'm gonna go Jaylen Brown. I'm gonna go Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The reason why is because if you look at all the fanfare that they've had, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. You all know that I am a Kyrie fan just based off of his skill set and stuff like that. I don't really care too much about what happens off the court, but on the court and when you hear the interviews, the Celtics have said that it wasn't Kyrie's fault. It was our fault, the young guys and stuff like that. And you trace that back. That's about 5-6 years of where they've been this threat that haven't gotten it done. And I don't know about you all, but you can only do that so long. And now they have the perfect roster. I think they're the best team in the league. They're top 3 as records.
No, that's not
Boston.
Talk about Boston. There's only so long. It's only so long you can keep that together. At this point, if you really look at any team that can compete with the Phoenix Suns, it's the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum can stick Kevin Durant head up. I'm not saying he's gonna win every matchup, but he can stick him head up. If you look up from top to bottom, the Boston Celtics are primed to win. So if they don't get it done now, I think that's a huge blow there. I don't care how long of a career they all can have individually. Some people never make it back to the finals. They never find themselves back in these situations. Carmelo Anthony is a Hall of Famer. He ain't never been to the finals.
Yeah.
71%
win percentage for Boston. Denver's is 69. Nice.
So that's for me. I think Boston has to get it done. I understand the Udoka mess and all that stuff. I get it. But they've been clicking since then. You have no excuse. And if they don't get it done, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, well, look at them." No, you went on to have one of the better records in the league. So I can't give you that. I saw that Blue Chew comment. You wrong for that. I'm gonna keep it pushing on you though, but I got you.
That was good. Kyrie Irving equals P Kids Blue Chew. That was good.
Hey, listen, if he gets a Bears, Bears. Good Lord, if he gets a Bulls jersey, I'm a beg, borrow, and steal for season tickets. That's all I'm gotta say about that one. Anyway, we're gonna move to the third tandem. To me, it's going to now fall on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Not so much of Chris Paul. The reason being, when have we ever seen I don't know if you could put Kevin Durant in the front court or back court. I mean, I don't know where to put Kevin Durant.
You can put him wherever you want to put him.
Hey, somebody said this today. Like, he's the only person in the league that's like an instant plug and play piece.
He's the ultimate plug and play. Like, he could play
ultimate.
Literally, there's not. I keep saying this, right, and I think that Atlanta is a perfect example of this. You can't just take people and say, okay, we're going to let you play off ball. And it works. Like, these dudes have played on ball their entire life. Trae Young and DeJounte Murray have been on ball players their entire life. You just like DeJounte on ball better than you like Trae because his shot selection may be a little bit better. Depends on if Trae's hot player. Not by much. I think he's only, 2 inches taller, 3 inches taller? It ain't that much.
No,
he's only
Trae Young is my height.
6.
And
DeJounte Murray's 5'11", and DeJounte is 6'5".
Yeah, DeJounte 6'5". But that's why
6'5".
DeJounte Murray is not 6'5".
That dude is 6'5".
DeJounte Murray is not 6'5".
Man, what?
Bro, he's 6'5".
Okay.
Bro,
he's 6'5", 6'6".
Look up how tall DeJounte Murray is.
I got it.
I already did. He's 6'5".
You don't believe it. You don't believe it.
I ain't buying it. 6'5".
No,
6'5".
What's the height it said? What's the height it said?
6'5".
6'5".
Did
6'5".
It's 6. I told you I looked it up already. He's 6'5", bro.
6'5".
Pat tweaking. This is his. Is he 33?
Nah. Hey, they lying
bro.
about
He's
that, bro.
6'5".
I see him standing next to that boy. He ain't that much taller than him.
Hey man, listen. Maybe Trae was standing on his tippy toes or something like that.
I don't know. Short. Man, that was a tall day. That was a tall day for DeJounte.
Maybe he stretched that day. Who knows? Anyway, all I gotta say is Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. When you really break it down, I like Devin Booker's game. I think you put another good shooter next to him. What can't they do? Like, what can't they do? Sincerely. And when you really pair that with a point guard who's a true pass first point guard, there's no reason why they can't get it done. Now, I'm not saying they have to get it done this year. He got traded mid-season. That's a tough sell, right? It's a lot to do. So if they make a strong playoff push, I think it's a success for them. I think they have to win next season, though, just because Chris Paul's will be older, stuff like that. But I think that's more on KD. KD's reputation is more on the line than Chris Paul's, in my opinion. If Chris Paul retired right now, he'd still be top 5, top 6 point guards of all time.
See, I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna challenge you on that real quick.
That's my thing with it. For me, he's not top 5 because he hasn't won. He's got all the accolades. He's got all the. But when we've talked about point guards like that are the focal point of their team, that are the number one. And Chris Paul's always been the number one on his team. He's been the number one, even when he was in the Clippers, right? When he was, maybe the only time he wasn't was when he was with Houston, and that was just dumb, right? Like I think we all agree that was stupid. When you look at guys like that, like, I can't say he's better than Magic. I can't say he's better than Isaiah. I can't say that he's better than I didn't know Big O. I was gonna say I didn't know Big O had a Finals MVP, a regular season MVP, and I was not familiar with your work, Big O. I just knew about the triple doubles record. I knew you had a championship, but I didn't know you was balling like that, brother. Shout out to you. But I mean, like, when I look at people that I put up there, like, for me, right, the championship would make him top 5 for me. The championship would be like, I am 100% on board with you being a top 5 point guard, in my opinion.
So you just named 3. You named Magic, you named Isaiah, you named Big O. I respect a respectable list. Name more dominant point guards that got it done.
Stephen Curry.
I would say Steph is a 2, but okay.
We always have this semantic debate. That's just
it's semantic.
It's your modern NBA. That's 5.
That's no. You said.
Oh, I said J. I put J Kidd. I said J Kidd.
I
said J.
Steph, and then
J Kidd's been to the finals 3 times?
Yeah, I would have to put
and
J.
won
Kidd,
once.
You
right?
J
Kidd been to the finals 3 times, won once.
Hey, J Kidd with Vince Carter. No one ever remembers that, but they absolutely ran the East. It was a weaker East, but they ran the East. I think they went to 3.
That team didn't get to the finals. That team going to the ECF. That team didn't get to the finals. The team that got to the finals. Vince Carter's never been in the NBA Finals.
No, Richard Jefferson. I think
the team with Richard Jefferson is the one that got to the NBA Finals. And I remember I seen a dig with who was it? With Amon Shumpert and J.R. Smith. And they was like, bro, like they said, Kid told me, if you run, I will get you.
That's what
if you run, I will get you 6 to 8 points. The rest is on you. And he said,
I was running.
He said, you would cut back door and just be like, how I get the ball?
I guess
I am open. I guess I can dunk this.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, I think that, and it's not to say, right, Chris Paul, one of the best point guards to ever touch a basketball. I think you could put John Stockton in there. I think I kind of have them somewhat in the same realm right now, even though Stockton has records that Chris Paul will never touch. Right?
I got John Stockton over Isaiah.
I can't because Isaiah's won 2 championships and he did it on his back.
The reason why I have John Stockton over Isaiah is simply because John Stockton did something that no one else can do. And he didn't have, he ran into one buzzsaw, and it's the ultimate buzzsaw of NBA sports.
But
it's
Isaiah
Michael freaking Jordan.
But Isaiah beat that buzzsaw.
He never played Michael Jordan with that same team.
Isaiah beat that buzzsaw.
He still beat him.
He never
kept that buzzsaw down. He beat that buzzsaw with Scottie Pippen on the team.
Context matters. He beat a rookie year Scottie Pippen. When Mike got enough help, if Mike had the same amount of help that Isaiah had from day one, he wouldn't have 2 rings. Now I know if it's a fifth, we all be joking. I get that,
that's
right?
Fine, but he beat that buzzsaw. The thing that you're putting John Stockton above him and saying the only reason he don't have a finals is because of this, Isaiah topped that, and he beat him off of him scoring the basketball at a time when that wasn't even normal. But I think that's a different conversation, right? We getting a little far off.
That's like saying LeBron beat Luka. That's like saying LeBron beat Luka before Luka gets a championship. And that's why we can't compare it to anything else.
But you want to know why we can't say that? Because Luka beat LeBron. You know what I mean? That's why we can't say that. You know what I mean? Like Luka, Luka with minimal help beat LeBron with Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook multiple times.
I have a certain thing with the point guard position specifically. I think context matters more than anything because it's traditionally a position that's relying on the team. It's relying on the team around you. It's almost like giving Tom Brady all the credit, despite the fact that he can't throw and catch at the same time.
But I think that's the reason, right? The point guards that we have as our top 5 weren't those guys. The point guards that we have as our top 5, or at least that I have in my top 5, I should say, were the best, not only facilitating, but also scoring the basketball point guards probably in NBA history. Don't let Magic Johnson's, 18 points a game fool you. Magic Johnson put up 42 points playing the wrong position.
He was dodging.
Magic Johnson put up 42, 16, and 7 playing the wrong position. He threw 7 assists just so he could still say, y'all know I'll be passing too, right? You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing, right? The list that we're having here, none of the top 5 guys that we talking about. Shout out to you, bro. What moves should the Bulls make? We'll talk about that on a different video, but appreciate you supporting with the super chat. We talking general NBA right now. But the top 5 guy, right? Magic could go get a bucket. Isaiah was the bucket. Stockton, I guess, is the one guy that you could say maybe not, but like I said, I kind of got him at that 6 range. Stephen Curry is a bucket. Oscar Robertson is a bucket, right? Like those. Yeah. So, like, to me, Chris Paul is more in line with those guys because Chris Paul, we've watched Chris Paul absolutely eviscerate mugs, shooting the basketball, getting to the bucket. So
he did it to the Clippers.
I don't think that we're separating the conversation where we're talking about Chris Paul in the top 5 because our top 5 point guards of all time are all dudes that was like, oh, I could pass this mug, but I won't shoot. I'm gonna break you down.
Did we go top 3 or top 5?
I went top 3 guys that needed a championship most. We got kind of off base there. My
Can
point
I give you a
my point in going that far off was to say if Chris Paul wins a championship, to me, he knocks off a guy like Oscar Robertson.
Yeah.
Because of the entire career plus the ring.
No, I can't do that. Oscar Robertson played ball and did things at a time, but they didn't even count all the stats that he had.
Who would you take off there if Chris Paul wins?
If Chris Paul wins,
if Chris Paul wins a ring, who would you take off of the top 5?
I wouldn't take off anybody.
Does he move into your top 5?
No.
So the ring changes nothing for you.
I mean,
there's nothing that Chris Paul has done that Steve Nash ain't do.
Wait,
win a championship. No, there's nothing that Chris Paul has done that Gary Payton didn't do.
He could do one really big thing that Steve Nash didn't do. Win a ring.
Watch this. Check this out.
In Phoenix.
To me, Gary Payton, if we're gonna use that comparative, would still be over Chris Paul because Gary Payton not only
I'm with you on that.
Not only was he locking you down, he was giving you 20 a game. He was dishing out 9 to 10 a game.
Yep.
And he won Defensive Player of the Year. He was the only guard to do it before Marcus Smart just did it. Point guard to do it before Marcus Smart just did it. It's like if you look at the epitome of a point guard, a floor general that really commands everything, how do I put him over him simply because he got a ring? Like I get the steals and stuff like that. I get that, but like Gary Payton won the ultimate award for defensive player. He's Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm with you on that. I think the thing is right when you talk about pressure on Chris Paul. I think it moves him higher on a lot of people's lists because to me, right, like even just sitting here talking about it, I thought I had Chris Paul higher. Even sitting here talking about it, I don't have him over Stockton. Nah, he couldn't have guarded. Stockton couldn't have guarded him, but I don't have him over Stockton. The Chris
Gary
Paul
Payton tell you differently. Stockton was Stockton. You know what Stockton was? He played for Utah. We all lived in the Midwest. We didn't see a lot of their games, and he was white.
Hey, now you know what it is though. A lot of the players that we look at that look like the players in today's game was giving Stockton the business. Y'all seen that game with what's his name? Why can't I think of his name?
I know what you're talking about. I
can't
have a hard time.
Abdul Rauf.
Abdul Rauf. Hey, bro, that man was giving, but and then like I saw that and I was like, huh. So, like, of the scorers back there, was Muggs really out here giving buckets? Isaiah Thomas was giving buckets. Magic Johnson was giving buckets.
Allen Iverson has a cold Stockton story. He said John Stockton gave it to him. That lets me know, hey, John.
Oh, John had it. I'm not saying
John wasn't out here getting busy.
I'm not saying he said, but my thing is right. Like, I got Stockton over CP3. Right now I have J Kidd over CP3. If I'm looking at and these guys aren't right, these aren't top 5 guys. J Kidd kind of is. If I'm looking just at guys in the general point guard position, I think
you
that
break that up.
I mean, like you even right. If we want to talk about from the facilitating point, is Tony Parker over Chris Paul?
I got Tony Parker got a Finals MVP.
Tony Parker.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. You start moving guys down when you start to break down where he's actually at. And so for me, I think a ring changes a lot of that, right? Like I don't know if it puts you above everybody on that list, and I don't even know if it moves you. Now that I break it down, I don't even know if it moves them inside of my top 5.
Yeah,
if I could get 2 minutes, I think we got to break that up. Like you have to sit there and we have to break up. And you could probably do this for any position, and it's probably mad unfair. But you got to hear me out on this. Magic was 6'9". Oscar Robertson was 6'5". He was really 6'5". Go ahead, look it up. He was really 6'5". He was 6'5".
Wait, who is questioning that?
It's a joke. Okay.
It's a joke. Okay.
We're gonna miss that
he gets it. Don't worry about that.
I ain't there in a minute. I gotta get back in the flow.
He gets it. Hey, like if we look at all of this, how do we put what do you put Russell Westbrook?
Russ
3-time
Russ is in my top.
You see what I'm saying? You gotta break this up a little bit.
Top
because
10.
if you go from a traditional point guard perspective, like Magic is still at the top because he ran a traditional game. Imagine if he just played a forward position, right? Like what would his career look like? Stockton has to be there. Chris Paul has to be there. Those are traditional point guards. You have to have them in a category of their own. Steph Curry is not a traditional point guard. Steph Curry don't even bring the ball up half the game. Steph Curry is literally hey, run this offense, run around 1,000.
Steph bring the ball up. Let's not get on
75% of the time.
75% of the time. Let's say, for instance, does Steph initiate the offense most of the time?
Steph usually brings the ball up, drops it off into either Clay or Dre's hand, and then runs off the screen.
Someone normally else is initiating that offense because he is the offense.
I mean, but
he's a shooting guard by all the like. If we're gonna make him a point guard, then Jerry West has to be in the top.
But he's a point.
Okay,
Jerry West has to be in the top 5 conversation.
But see, then here's my question, right? So Stephen Curry is what, 7 assists a game? So what are we talking about? Him just being a point on? Like he's added to his game for sure. He's an offensive juggernaut. I'm not taking that away. He got to be close to that. Got to be almost 7 assists a game because he usually finishes every game I see with him with 7 to 8 assists.
He's 6 assists a game.
Okay, 6 assists a game. On top of
that's shooting guard numbers.
Yeah, but he's the point guard on the team. Are we? So what are we trying to say? He's not a point guard.
I'm just saying there's a difference between a traditional point guard and a.
I mean, you could, but you
have
could
to make
round
that
up
difference
to 7. You
because
could round up to 7 though.
You have to make that difference because
all of the guys. All of the guys we talking about are scoring point guards as well. Now, Magic is probably the best of both worlds, right? But Isaiah Thomas is a scoring point guard.
Isaiah Thomas, that's what I say. I didn't put him in a traditional point guard position. I put him as a scoring, like a combo guard. Like I look at Isaiah and I look at the game that he played and stuff like that. And I lump him in with Russell Westbrook. I lump him in with Steph Curry and stuff like that because he was generating too much offense just from his scoring ability alone.
Wait, so you said so let me get this right. You saying that we got to break it up because the game evolved?
No, I just think that role right there.
Hey, listen. But can we take Isaiah away? That man is
because that's what I'm saying. Like even Russ got a
that
scoring
man is
title.
9 assists a game.
I'm not sitting there taking away from him being an all-time great player or point guard.
He had a season where he was averaging 14 assists a game.
I just think there's tiers to it.
I can agree with that. I'm not saying it, but I don't think that we can give Chris Paul a break because I think Chris Paul is more like the point guards we talk. Chris Paul is like an Isaiah Thomas. Now his career has changed since he's been in Phoenix a little bit, but New Orleans Chris Paul was a bucket.
Oh yeah,
I liking Chris Paul more to Kevin Johnson than Isaiah Thomas.
Nah,
Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson was 20 and 10, but he wasn't the main focal point of your team. Charles Barkley was.
But Chris Paul was.
Yeah,
Chris Paul was the main focal point of literally every team he was on until Houston.
Yeah.
No,
literally you can't tell me he wasn't the main focal point in New Orleans.
I mean, New Orleans is different. New Orleans was a trash organization. They still are.
And the Clippers.
You ask me. Clippers, I think you.
Who was he? Who was the main focal? Blake Griffin?
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm just saying.
Come on, man.
Hey, but since we're talking about the Clippers, let me just make my last point. Let's last point on this whole list
because we did go on a sidetrack like a mug on that Blake Griffin.
Ultimately,
the Clippers. Out of here.
The team that stop.
Hey, mentally, you know what it is though, Pat. Mentally, he wanted. He wanted to be the closer.
He wanted to be the main focal point.
Mentally, he was the closer.
It didn't happen.
I say this: when you have a real traditional point guard, the people around you look a lot better. And so,
yes, 100%.
I think Chris Paul is just that type of place. The traditional point guard that made everyone better. If you look at JJ Redick had his highest points per game with Chris Paul.
Right.
Pure shooter. You look at Blake Griffin, stuff like that, and yeah, he can get his own bucket. He
makes your life easier. He is like a J kid, where literally, because his IQ is so high, if he says
you take that talent away,
8 points a game, he can get you 6 to 8 points a game.
You take that talent away. I have yet to see Chris Paul dominate in such a way that his team is in the playoffs solely because of him?
New Orleans.
OKC.
No.
OKC as well.
OKC.
OKC
I
is a
give
great
you
one.
OKC.
But New Orleans.
That's
New Orleans,
a great
not New
one.
Orleans. What are you talking about? He got to the AFC and the ECF.
Bro,
And he was like,
hey, bro, I'm gonna need you to relax because him and David West was carrying.
Yeah, but look at what
that's
you say.
That's also a different
him
NBA though. We had this conversation. You literally, like, it's to a point. If you're not separating NBAs, you're an idiot. That's really how. Like, I stopped talking basketball with you because there's an NBA where one player could carry a bad team. That NBA no longer exists. If you got one good player, the Houston Rockets and have Jalen Green and Alfred Sengun, and many of us believe these two guys are really, really amazing talents, and they're the worst team in the NBA. You put them mugs back in the early 2000s. We probably talk about Houston going on a 5th seed playoff run out here. Like,
now, but so get back to initial topic.
Let's
the person in the organization with the most pressure on them, I don't care what nobody says, is Kawhi, whatever the heck his middle name is, Leonard. That man is the epitome of time off.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's legitimate injury or not, he is the reason load management is even a thing.
Yep.
At the same time, he has Paul George. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm willing to throw him in there.
He has Paul George. Let me finish.
Is a reason for load management.
Let me finish. Because specifically around Kawhi at that point too. To late Tim Duncan, early Kawhi. He has Paul George. Now he has Russell Westbrook. He had James. He had John Wall. Mm-hmm. He has people on his team who could be starters at this point. If you look at how deep the Clippers are, you can't tell me they don't have 4 or 5 people who will be key to. If Norman Powell had a Bulls jersey right now, I said we going to the second round. Norman Powell is a guaranteed 20-point bucket.
But points ain't what we need, bro.
Absolutely.
He defends and he's gritty. He's a gritty player.
He's a good defender.
Hey,
y'all got about.
If you look at from a talent perspective, the Clippers are so freaking stacked. I don't care what point of their career.
No,
Paul George is one of the best two-way players in the game. Kawhi Leonard, when he's playing,
the Clippers are so stacked. The Clippers are so stacked. They was like, John Wall, we can't figure you out here, bro. Go on somewhere,
bro. All I'm saying is this: they had Reggie Jackson at one point, who was sitting there cooking. They lost all their starters and still made the playoffs.
Yeah.
The people who have the most to lose are the Clippers. This is your year. I got him as the ultimate. He's in a category of his own at this point because the experiment. You left Toronto.
You got it.
You was in the finals.
Yeah, you have enough with the Clippers to compete with the Phoenix Suns. Like there's enough on that team right now for them to go out there and if we see a Suns versus Clippers matchup, I'd say, okay, you got PG for Kawhi. Or not PG for Kawhi. You got Kawhi for KD. You got PG for and now, right? Like last time Kawhi went up against KD,
Devin Booker.
He really didn't go up. PG can stick Devin, but like he actually can stick Devin Booker. If you really want to, Russ on Chris Paul is a matchup that Russ has come out on the winning end of many times in his career. If you really want to throw a defensive guy out there.
They have the best bench. I agree with you. There's no bench that can keep up with them outside of the Boston Celtics. And the Boston Celtics are going to have a hard time. Like, if we really want to be this is the Clippers' year to lose. Y'all realize that the Kawhi and Paul George have played half the season and they're like 4th in the West?
Yeah. I mean, I realize.
First of all, shout out to Ty Lue for being a heck of a coach. Because he's dealing with a different lineup every other day.
Ty Lue's one of the best on-the-fly coaches in the NBA right now. Ty Lue, Steve Kerr, and Spo probably are the best on-the-fly coaches in the NBA. Everybody else,
that man starts giving out lessons, I'm paying Billy Donovan to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. Billy's a guy that gets his game plan before the game. Game starts. Billy running his game plan. Stuff happens that he didn't expect. Billy's still running his game plan. He's a stick to the plan kind of guy. Pop has kind of turned into that because he just don't give a F with this team, honestly. Pop don't give a rat's you know what with this team, bro.
Put this up there. Who is checking
Ayton?
Ayton? They got enough bench.
No,
they got enough bench presence.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Ayton's checking Ayton.
I was just about to say. I
Ayton.
think the only thing that would derail Phoenix from actually getting to where they want to go is Ayton and his attitude. Because if he at some point he got to check that at the door.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know this sounds crazy.
Mason Plumlee, you got 6 fouls. Go to work.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest, and that's really what throws Ayton off a lot of time, the contact and the physicality. But Mason Plumlee ain't that guy. But the thing for me with where Phoenix is like, I'm gonna be honest with you, DeAndre Ayton's not even a part of it. DeAndre Ayton's Patrick Williams now. Like, to me, it's like go out there and do your job, but like, I'm not looking for you. Like, I'm looking for Devin Booker. I'm looking for Kevin Durant. I mean, we're gonna have to go to you at some point because we need to pass the ball to somebody else so they don't get bogged down. But like
18-10 with 60% shooting. Ayton is a stud.
That sounds great. His playoff numbers last season looked great too, but I saw 3 games in that NBA playoffs where he put up sub 10 points.
Hey, I saw us get to the playoffs and Vooch be our best player.
Hey, I'm with you 100%. No, I'm talking about on Phoenix. His playoff numbers look great, but
I think Monty, that's Monty's fault. I think Monty totally did not run a game plan for his best player at the time. One of his best options was to utilize Ayton. He wasn't.
There was an entire game where they just threw DeAndre Ayton the ball in the post, and he was getting cooked by a dude named Maxey Kleber. Bro, get this bum out of here for crying for that money, folks. That man didn't. Hey, Mason Plumlee's gonna look like an absolute superstar against DeAndre Ayton for 3 games. Now, here's the thing: Ayton can go off and have them big games, but when a dude that's not a center, he is 6'8", 6'9", is clamping you up for 3 games in the NBA playoffs. By the way, also not a defender. He's a pretender.
I would say this, and I'm not here to just defend DeAndre Ayton. I'm really not. I don't care about that, but I would say this: he's a lot better than what we give credit for, and he's absolutely an option for them. I mean, to say he's Patrick Williams is disrespectful, because if Patrick Williams was giving you half of what DeAndre Ayton gives you on the Bulls, we'd be in a better position.
No, I'm saying where he's at on the position of the guys that need to score the basketball, he's the 4th option. I'm looking at Chris Paul to score the basketball more than I'm looking to DeAndre Ayton to do it. And I think Kevin Durant coming to that team is the saving grace that allows DeAndre Ayton to hopefully become an impactful player on a night in, night out basis in the playoffs. I'm not saying he's not doing it now. He is playing better this season. But I'm talking about when guys get in the playoffs, right? Cat plays well every night of the regular season. When the playoffs show up, we talk about 4 or 5 games. Last season, we was looking at Cat and we was like, hey, brother, if you just gave a little bit of help, just a little bit, a smidge.
They gotta come. They gotta come see us.
They gotta come. They gotta come see us in Minnesota. He put up 5 points. You know what I mean?
When people get a battery in their back, they show out. There's no ultimate battery in your back than Kevin Durant being on your freaking team.
Hey, guess what? You know what should have put a battery in his back? Seeing a 6'7" dude be sent out there to guard you when they had a 7-footer sit on the bench.
It didn't happen. Hey, listen, I saw somebody called the greatest of all time get checked by Jason Terry and JJ Barea. It just is what it is.
Hey, don't open up old wounds, bro. I will never forgive him.
That's all I'm saying. Bro. I'm saying it happens. Should it happen? No. Hey, I even saw LeBron go for 51 and pass the ball when he had Stephen Curry sticking him.
Three out of 4, man.
That's the one thing I will say is insane is that's the mentality that's gone away, right? Like shit, like it used to be, like if you put a certain type of player on players in the early 2000s, 90s of course, but the early 2000s, bro, they would just look at you and be like, are you trying to disrespect me to my face today? Like what? Like what's
probably muffin step to the dunk?
No, my favorite one is Shaq. You know the reason he threw the ball off of Buddy's head is because he was mad that they even decided to put him on him. when he pushed his buddy over and throws the ball, he said, I couldn't believe they really was going to try to face guard me with this dude. I was so mad.
Oh, and he threw the ball back at him?
Yeah. And he threw the ball at him going down the court because Shaq was just killing this man, bro. So I think I will say the sad part about the NBA today is that mentality is not there. Like Kevin Durant don't look at the dude across from him and just be like, hey, bro, what you doing here?
Hey, no, Kevin Durant still does, which is why it's ultimately like, and you know the players who do it. Here's a. I want you all to look at and this is more for the people who are listening in. We appreciate y'all tuning in, rocking with us.
Appreciate y'all tuning in.
When you look at the game of basketball, you know who's really putting in work. You know who really is elite and a step above by how they carry themselves. It's nothing but the ultimate flex is when you sit there and you go to a team and you say, just do you, I'm gonna get mine, and still average 29. Kevin Durant literally, he has an interview. I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. And when he says it, no one even he doesn't get the LeBron treatment. Like, oh, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't say you're one of the greatest in the game. The reason why we say it is because you can look at Kevin Durant, you look at how he handles business, you like, no, he's one of the greatest people who've ever played the game. And he does it. He's the only player, active player who can say that, in my opinion, and nobody even questions it. When LeBron does it, it's like, like you're good, but like Kevin Durant is there's only 3 people.
I think it's the difference of saying you know who I am versus saying I'm the greatest player to ever touch a basketball. I think that's where people be like, all right, dog.
Yeah.
There's only 3 people in NBA history who's dropped nearly, I think, 2,000 points from the mid range in 3 consecutive seasons. Kevin Durant did it all 3 times.
I can see that.
But you know what? You know what though? Why does? Let me ask y'all this though. Why is it that when it comes to KD, we just automatically skip to, oh yeah, KD was in Golden State, that was the weakest move. Like we forget the first 9 years.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
When he was like, hey, wait, 27.4 was his point per game average. Do you know that he was shooting 48% from the field and 38% from 3?
Yeah, he was dogging 100%.
But we just forget about that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's the reason I don't have him on this list. Kevin Durant's a Finals MVP. He's a 2-time Finals winner. He's got 2 rings on his hand. It's the reason I don't have him on my list, because to me, the only thing that we want to see is, can you do it by yourself, which is fine. But also, we're in an NBA where right now nobody does it by themselves. That does not exist anymore. That's why I say when I'm talking basketball with Muzz now, if you really sit here and be like, well, Giannis can carry a team, it's like Giannis can carry a team right now. He's not carrying a team through the playoffs. You're not getting to an NBA Finals this year with just Giannis. Chris Middleton got to get back healthy. Drew Holiday, he's doing his part, right? But they need that third piece. And y'all know how I feel about Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton, right? But the thing is, those games where Chris Middleton gives you 40 points, get you to the next round. And Giannis right now with just Drew Holiday. Now, I will say Brook Lopez is playing at an unbelievable level. Brook might be able to help him a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. Brook Lopez is playing. Brook Lopez is having one of the best seasons of his career, quiet as it's kept, and nobody's talking about it. He's second in blocks, and he keeps jumping back and forth between second and first. He's a little different, but I think that the reason I don't have KD on, like I said, the reason I don't have KD on this list is because all the other dudes we talking about, right? Like KD, outside of just injury, has been there. Nothing with the Nets do I look at and I say this KD's fault.
No.
I look at the Nets and I'd be like, it was a lot of bad decisions made. There was a lot of players that were brought in that probably disrupt that. I think now that for some reason Kyrie's out of the building, everybody's willing to make that statement now, which is weird. It's like, I get he's on your team, but he's also not there. Like, let's stand on our word here, boys. If anything, the only flack I give KD is maybe not being a leader. I don't think that KD's an actual, like, I'm going to make you fall in line. And a lot of the players that we talk about before KD are, right? Like LeBron is like, hey, it's my way, you can get up out of here. Like, I'll trade you. Like, legit. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan was literally, his first conversation with Dennis Rodman was just, if you F this up, I will kill you. and then walked away. You know what I mean? Like so I don't think KD's that kind of guy. And so I think that kind of allows the Kyrie situation to happen. I think that allows the James Harden situation to happen. I think that allows the Steve Nash situation to happen. Because all we heard was, right, KD signed off on these deals. KD don't care. KD want to show up and hoop. He don't care.
Just trying to hoop.
KD just trying to hoop. He don't care.
And then they retracted that. They're trying to say that KD didn't sign off on it. That's a whole different thing. Steve Nash was a mess.
I think it's
the reason that's the reason I don't have the pressure on KD like I have on a Kawhi. Kawhi, right? He goes out there and he wins with Toronto. Love it. I think that was that really
that's a timing thing.
That was a great timing, great. But listen, so is Giannis's. I'm not going to take it away from KD's when I'm not going to take it away from Giannis. Giannis was the timing. You know what I mean? Or from Kawhi, I should say, when I'm not going to take it away from Giannis. Giannis was the timing thing. Everybody in his way got hurt.
No.
Everybody in his way got hurt.
No. Giannis played.
That's true.
Giannis played a Phoenix team. Giannis played a Phoenix team that should have won. They were the favorites to win, and they absolutely choked. Chris Paul choked. Devin Booker choked.
Finals is fine. Finals, I'm with you on, right?
That's what I'm talking about. Finals
is fine. But I'm talking about the path to get there. The timing was perfect for Giannis. That Bucks team was not better than that Brooklyn team.
Hey, I'm not even gonna lie, because
but Kyrie got injured during that series. You're right.
Kyrie got injured. James Harden was injured, and he was just out there on one leg. I was giving him credit for even going out there and just trying to be a decoy. The next round was Trae Young. I believe John Collins ends up getting injured.
That was ECF.
ECF is Trae Young. I believe John Collins ends up getting injured.
Didn't turn his ankle.
They was gonna sweep him anyway.
Trae turned his ankle. They were gonna beat him. They were gonna beat him. They might not have swept him, but they were gonna beat him. But Trae turned his ankle.
At least would have went 6 or 7. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, who would have won 6 or 7?
I think it would have won 6 or 7.
I don't know.
Bro, they had no answer for the pick and roll, and they was just shooting threes. You telling me Bud was going to adjust?
My G, I need you to understand something. I love Trae Young. I like the fact that he's living his dream.
I mean, I'm just saying for what it was.
You honestly think
time,
Drew Holiday wasn't gonna sit there and clamp that man up or make it a lot tougher?
I'm just saying for what it was at that time. He was on a road. They tried to do it. It didn't work. Trae turned his ankle. It just was what it was.
Trae getting hurt changed that series.
Trae getting hurt changed that whole thing.
I didn't have Atlanta winning that series.
I didn't say they was gonna win.
But I
said
do me a favor. Hey, Pat, let me just ask this question. At what point in time ever do you think Trae Young is actually gonna make it to the finals?
No. We just had this. No. We had this.
I'm just asking a question.
At
what point do you think he's actually gonna make a final?
No, he's not. He's not. We had this conversation the other day. He's not gonna make the finals. He's not like that. He's not like. I don't think he's gonna make a final. His shot selection is poor. I was just talking about him yesterday.
Trae Young has great regular season box office.
24.
Fam.
He has great regular season box office, push butts in a seat type game.
Yeah.
He does not have winning playoff half court set basketball feel. He just does not.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Trae Young got a lot more series wins than most people. Trae Young already got like 6 series wins.
He has a better playoff performance than Carmelo Anthony. I would say Chris Paul, because he made it to ECF. Well, Chris Paul made it to a WCF, but like he's already up there. But again, men lie, women lie. Numbers don't, but they don't always tell the truth. Trae Young is the reason you get there. He's also the reason you don't make it.
Hey, listen, I tell you this right now. He was effing the Bucks up. I had to go.
I'm telling you.
I remember him.
But bro.
Hey, that man almost dropped 50 the first game.
Totally get it. When he's hot, it's unbelievable. But guess what? When he's cold,
when he's cold, now to that point, the next game, he was 6 for 16. He scored 15 points. But then the game after that, he was 12 for 43. No, he hurt the ankle in the game. He scored 35.
Trae is a great number 2.
Nah, he's not
a good number 1.
I was talking about this yesterday. He's never gonna get there because they made the conversation like what's holding him back. His attitude and his shot selection is. I think
I can't say he's never gonna get there. You put him on the right team, he'll get there.
As a
He's
number
on the right
2.
team right now.
Yep.
I don't even know if that's the number 2.
You know what? Okay. You put him on a team that
put him on the right. You put him on the right team with the right coach with the right mix. He'll get there.
Trey Young.
Trey Young's been in the NBA 6 years.
Now,
he's 24.
But right now, this man is third in the league in scoring, shooting 42% from the field and 34% from 3.
Yeah,
looks great.
Lot of bad shots. No, I don't. 34% from 3 don't look great.
Hey, all I'm saying is this: he could be third in points, second in assists. Heck, let's make him first in steals. Do you feel like they gonna win?
No, bro. No, they're not. They're not.
30,
that's all I'm saying.
34. That man's shooting 30.
That's all I'm saying.
From 3.
Yeah,
but
they won't win. They won't win. I was just saying at that time.
I also will say this, and we've gotten off topic completely from here, but
this is what happens on sports shows.
I also will say this about Trey Young. Trey Young his shooting percentages are down. His play style looks a lot worse in a season where they said the ball's out of your hand. That matters. He's not an off-ball player. He's never been an off-ball player. We can scrunch our faces all we want. When I change your role and you look worse, that matters. Zach LaVine look a heck of a lot worse this year, don't he?
We said
when he got to be the point guard.
That when they first put it together, it's gonna take him a minute to play off ball. I mean, I think he'll get it together, but they need a couple of other pieces that will be able to.
Probably not.
Oh, he's not gonna get it together.
I mean, let me ask you this: is Karis LeVert a better player than he was in Indiana and Cleveland?
I can't.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I got what you're saying. So you don't think he can be able to
you want to know why Malcolm Brogdon all of a sudden had this resurgent season, one being healthy, but you want to know why Malcolm Brogdon all of a sudden had this resurgent season when he goes over to the Milwaukee or the Boston Celtics, because they put him on the bench and they said the ball's in your hands again. Do what you do. And he can just go out there and do what he does.
Yeah. There are certain players who have to be very ball dominant.
You got to be in your role.
And here's the thing: when you have smaller guards like Trae Young, I give you a cautionary tale. That's why Isaiah Thomas is never going to get the opportunity that he deserves. Isaiah Thomas can absolutely come out and give you 20 points. I firmly believe that.
Oh, okay.
But what organization is going to put the ball in his hands the same way they did at Celtics? They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's passing him by simply because of that. And it's unfortunate, but if you are a smaller guard who needs to take all those shots and you're not in a situation that's catered to you 110%, you're not going to have the same success. So at this point, the difference between him and Luka, they play a very similar style. But Luka is 6'7".
Luka's 6'7".
Luka can do so much more on the court if necessary. Luka can adjust his game and be effective in so many different ways on the basketball floor based off of the size and speed of it than Trae. Yep. And it just is what it is. He's limited so much because of that. So I hope it works out for him. But at the end of the day, that's my take on who ultimately is at the There's no reason in the world Steve Ballmer is going to have a fit if they don't even make it to the Western Conference Finals. You got to think there's a lot of money on that team right now. Mm-hmm. He says luxury tax. What's that? He's spending a lot of money for that to work out right now, and it may not. And ultimately, are you going to re-up Paul George again? Are you going to re-up Kawhi Leonard again? Why would you? He's been available 52%, 56% of the games.
I would re-up Paul George. I don't know about Kawhi.
Hey, if Paul George hits the market, I'm telling you right now, I need him in a Bulls jersey. Still one of the best two-way players in the game.
Yeah.
I need him in a Bulls jersey right now. He can play off ball. He can play on ball. He can sit there and be a defender if you need to. I've seen Paul George play every single role sometimes he shouldn't even have to play and be effective. Now he get cooked sometimes.
He ain't leaving that.
He be getting cooked on purpose because Kawhi be leaving.
That's on Kawhi.
Kawhi be leaving. I can't go.
Kawhi be like, PG, you got it right. Hey man, we appreciate
hit the switch.
We appreciate y'all for showing love to another episode of The Breeze, man. We know this is a little different from our normal content, man, but we do want to be able to cover everything on this channel, man. We want to keep growing this thing, expand the audience, expand the growth, man. We still gonna talk Chicago sports, but today we had to go national on y'all, man, because I wasn't stretching us signing Terry Taylor. Oh, what's buddy name?
Who is he?
So I've heard this from the host of Locked On Pacers. He told me this before I did Locked On Bulls yesterday.
Wait, Pat. You heard this from another?
Well, he came from the Indiana Pacers. He came from the Pacers, so he was a part of their organization. He said, I can't believe, he said his words verbatim, I can't believe I'm saying this about a two-way player, but Terry Taylor is the best small rebounder in the NBA right now. High praise.
Dalen Terry and Terry Taylor on the court.
I will say this: when you look at
Terry 2 times,
Terry 2 times, Terry 2 times. Now, I will say this: when you look at his advanced metrics, and I know advanced metrics can tell you everything, they don't make sense. With his numbers per game, or with his minutes per game, his percentage on his rebounds and getting back on defense and all of that is like through the roof. Now, his actual stats don't tell you that. But I think the advanced part of it takes in tipping the ball out to other players that actual rebounding stat won't. So, I don't know. I got to see him. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've watched game in and game out and seen this dude play.
So
are they going to use him is the point.
Is he like Bruce Bowen?
I would say from
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown, I keep saying Bowen. My fault.
From the tape, Bruce Bowen is taking it back. From the tape I've seen, there are flashes of a Bruce Brown type player. Now, I haven't seen a ton. Granted, all this on the internet really is the highlights. I'm not saying, but I will say this: he's played for the Pacers. He started a couple of games for the Pacers. Locked On Pacers dude. He cracks me up because he's not a Pacers fan. He literally just covers the team as a job. So he ain't got no reason to randomly hit me up and tell me this about this dude. I hope it works out. I don't expect it, but I hope it works out. I hope he's a diamond in the rough and that the Bulls got a heck of a player. I don't even expect to see him hit the floor, if we being honest. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I don't expect to see this dude play one time. But
if Marco can't get minutes.
Hey, man, well, that's a whole different thing. Billy don't play. You see who they cut. They cut Tony Bradley to make room. Billy don't pay nobody over 6'5". But, hey, man, we appreciate y'all for showing love. Hit that like button if you haven't done so. Subscribe to the page, man. We do talk sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel. Talking sports, how sports fans talk. As always, man, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Joined by the pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid, and the man, the myth, the legend, back in the building, Stefan Adon. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Peace.